Hey everybody, welcome back to Your Full Crew. I'm Dawn Zola, your host and the CEO of P3 Tech Consulting. We are live at the FAA's Drone and AAM Symposium in Baltimore, Maryland. And we are here with our sponsor, Michael Helander from Airspace Link. So we appreciate you, as always. And so Michael, tell us a little bit about you, your company, why you're here first.
President and CEO of Airspace Link, and people call us Google Maps for drones. We're a Before You Fly app service supplier. We're a land supplier, and we provide a platform to support all different types of drone integration, mostly here in the United States.
And Airspace Link, by the way, has been a great friend to everything we do. They sponsored a month earlier on the Dawn of Autonomy this year. And so, we've been working with them for a while, old hat. But you know what?
You're so much fun.
Big news.
Yeah, a little bit.
Maybe old hat, but big news. So tell us about the big reveal.
So we just had a press release. I'm going to read it, parts of it, so it's super long. The main thing here is that we're at Airspace Link. We have now with Before You Fly, we have probably 70% of the market using our application. We have land suppliers, we have organizations, governments, and we want to allow operators to have access to more advanced systems than just around. So we deployed a system a few months ago without telling anyone called the AirHub Portal Marketplace. It's a place where you can plug in different apps and APIs and systems into ours and have a single pane of glass. And what those are is I want to make an announcement for all these partners that we're going to talk about have had our customers purchase their system and run it through our platform as of today. So this is all something that's actually live with all of them. So I'll go in alphabetical order. We have now integrated Accipiter radar. They will have a system where you can plug in through our platform and access their sensor systems and their surveillance platforms. Second is Aero Defense for UAS detection. We have a customer that's using their platform now to do UAS detection.
Yeah.
Alaris Pro has integrated their system. So we have a crew and asset management system, but we do not go to the level that they do. That aviation grade system, you can actually upgrade it into their platform and vice versa. Their system has our platform running in it, and they can go back and forth between our two systems. We also have D-Drone, as you can imagine, drone detection as well.
Yeah.
Different customer, same interface, just different underlying technology for our customers. All works the same. Here's probably one of our biggest ones is Esri. They have now integrated we have access into about 100 different of their applications. Site scan, integrated with Airspace Link system, you can access it. We have Survey 123, where you can create your own checklists. And again, this is all Esri GIS technology, which is heavily integrated.
That's awesome.
My favorite one that they have, though, we call it Business Analyst for Drones. You can actually create a surface model and see how many people a drone could get to within your city for package delivery. It's pretty neat. Another big one I'm really excited about is UAvionics. Has a plug-in is in our system, so you can access a lot of their technology for advanced capabilities.
Wow.
White Fox Defense.
Another defense
detection system.
Yep.
Another, again, our customers might be in locations and have bought systems and they've purchased it through our platform, really depending on their use case.
Yeah.
And then finally, there's a custom app creator that people can use our APIs to plug into the next person that's not on our list. But again, we want to make sure when we put someone on it, it can be plug and play, and easy to use. So that's the announcement. There's a lot to it.
Huge. I mean,
awesome.
Now you've created, I'm going to make my own word, an ecoverse around AirHub Portal, and I think that's so critical. By the way, if you want to learn more about AirHub Portal, obviously check out their website, but you go on their website, P3 Tech's website. We did do a product release with Colby Free about AirHub Portal to learn a lot more about that. So, Michael, before you go, you're here, obviously. You're here as a thought leader. What's the one thing for the folks that are out there, other than your awesome news, that you learned here that you would love to share with others?
I think the focus is, and what I'm seeing, the question's being asked, how do you see where we're going to be at in 5 years?
Yeah. Everybody's asking that.
Yeah, and I think we're getting the same answer. We really have a full court press on BB loss and UTM capabilities.
Yes.
Part 108. over the next 2 years. There's a process and there's pressure on that.
Yeah.
So the comment is, in 5 years from now, we won't be thinking about how to do it. We'll be thinking how to refine it, how to make it, not that we're not doing it, it's how we're making it more efficient, faster, and better and easier.
Yeah.
So it's not an if, and it's not even a when. We have some of a when. It's once we have it, how do we refine it?
No, totally. And, in terms of reveals, from the stage we heard FAA notice of public rulemaking by the end of the year or latest early January. So Part 108. And by the way, also UTM, expect that to be included in there. So not a separate use-based regulation, but incorporated into the BVLOS rule, whatever that's going to look like. So super exciting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great to see you
Always
again.
Great to see you.
All right. Next up, I'm looking at my list here. We've got the FAA. We've got Praveen Raju. He is with the Next Gen office, and so great to have you.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So you're with Next Gen, right? You're looking out. So tell us, Praveen, as you're participating in this event, helping to run it, what are the 3 big takeaways that people that didn't have a chance to come here should know about next generation mobility?
Yeah, we made some very, very great announcements recently. About a year ago here at the Drone Symposium, we announced that we were doing this UAS traffic management evaluation activity. And at that time, we announced it's going to be in the North Texas area.
Yes, the key site.
Yes, and we know industry calls it shared airspace a lot of the time.
Yep.
But it's one and the same, and it is different operators doing different types of missions in North Texas. And so we wanted to use strategic capabilities to deconflict drones from each other.
Yeah.
And this is all data, right? It's systems of systems, and we wanted to see how it actually worked in an operational environment. And so over the past year, the FAA, in partnership with industry, so a public-private partnership, we've been hard at work down at the key site and beyond. And yesterday was announced the first 2 letters of acceptance to 2 companies recognizing third-party services and the strategic deconfliction service.
Well, and the key is also, this is all part of this near-term application, did I saying it right? Process? NTAP.
Yes.
NTAP, which was announced at this very event last year. And so this is NTAP in action, right? Where these 2 approvals, and by the way, Avionics, we just heard about them. They were one of the first approvals with Vantas earlier. These last 2 make number 2 and 3. So moving forward, this is super exciting. So Praveen, as we think about the key site, when will we see some of this activity, now that we've had the approvals, when will we see the activities, no kidding, when will we see the fly?
Great fun fact, it's happening already.
What?
You can go down to the North Texas area. Various companies are delivering different goods, and we're hearing that companies want to start expanding to different parts of the country. This is a nationwide sort of acceptance of this service, so it is not limited to the key site. But we really look to the companies on where they want to operate, and we just want to make sure they're doing it safely, and we want to make sure it's done right. So it's happening already. You can go down to Texas tomorrow and see these things happening. The software is now running in the background from a lot of these companies, and the FAA's big role here is how we're doing oversight.
Well, speaking of Texas, AUVSI is a partner on this event, and their big exponential will be in Houston next year. Not quite Dallas or the DFW area there, but close enough. And so hopefully we'll have a lot more information by then. But super exciting. Thank you so much for joining us. How can people find out more information about the key site or what you're doing in NextGen?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of great resources on FAA.gov, and if you look up UTM and FAA, you can get to the right places for more information. I know our social media teams are posting on LinkedIn about all the latest and greatest. So go on to FAA.gov and to learn a little bit more.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. Appreciate you. And super exciting. Speaking of companies that are doing amazing things and some of the big reveals we've had, I'd love to welcome here Ben Berlin from Zipline. So big announcements this week with your company and, of course, also with Wing. You guys were on my panel that I got to it's not my panel, but I got to moderate it. It was super fun. UTM, how UTM enables BV loss. So Ben, tell them a little bit about yourself. And man, everybody I think knows Zipline, so almost needs no introduction, but go ahead.
Thanks, Don. So I'm Ben Berlin. I'm Aviation Regulatory Counsel at Zipline. And just, I have to make the plug. Zipline is on a mission to bring logistics to everyone, every human equally. We fly in 8 countries on 4 continents, so we're excited. You know, the big reveal yesterday is going to be, help us scale operations in the U.S. We're going to be able to deconflict from other UAS without having to make phone calls or send texts. We'll know where they're going to be.
Yeah.
And they're going to know where we're going to be, and we can really launch drones more quickly. So.
Well, and just to put a pin in this is a historic moment. I mean, this announcement and what your company has achieved with the FAA together of flying in airspace that is, it's true integration. And this is what we've been looking to do, right?
Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't first say it's years of work with
it wasn't
industry
overnight.
colleagues. I mean, FAA, NASA, there have been lots of people involved, and this is the culmination of years of work. And so really, 5 to 10 years ago, they started this.
Wow.
Now we're just seeing the initial launch of the service to deconflict drones. So it's a huge day. It's a huge moment for all of us. So we're excited.
Yeah, as you should be. So you've been here obviously before to this event. You've been going to the various plenary sessions and panels, other than your, of course, incredible announcement. What do you think the folks out there, if they didn't get a chance to come, what's like a takeaway, like 1 or 2 takeaways that is news that they should know about?
Sure. I think the biggest takeaway for me, I come because I love to connect with my industry colleagues in government. Being based at a company in California, I don't get to see everyone as much as I'd like to, but the FAA has been receptive and heard our comments. And they really are moving quickly and making changes internally to be able to adapt to what the industry needs to get approvals to make our business cases work. Otherwise, what are we all doing here? So
exactly. And it's the NTAP, again, to mention that. And Praveen just mentioned the FAA website. They have a great section on NTAP, this process, and very specific criteria. And that was one thing they said from the stage, I think. Look, if we've got criteria, please follow it.
Sure.
If you're going to apply, go through the checklist. It's not hard to do. I mean, I'm sure it's hard to actually attain the level that they're looking for, but to follow the checklist in and of itself, it's not hard.
It's not hard. And there are other resources as well. So the industry cohort that's doing UTM in North Texas, they have a GitHub page where you can find resources, automated testing, additional sort of technical help to be a part of the system, because we all believe that the more people who participate in UTM, the safer we're all going to be. So please.
Well, that's a great point. So how do people find this GitHub page?
Sure. So it's github.com/UTM implementationus.com.
Okay, very good. So for the businesses out there that are looking to partner or get involved in this key site, that's a place they can go.
Yeah.
How can they reach you too, Ben? Is there a way they can reach out?
Sure, yeah. So you can reach me at benjamin.berlin@flyzipline.com. And we also have a website, flyzipline.com. You can find me there.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, anything else you wanted to share before you head out? And eat lunch, because, by the way, it's lunchtime and it's kind of loud here.
I think I said all I have. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much,
Appreciate it.
Ben. Appreciate you. All right. Next up, we have got the executive director of the Vertical Flight Society. Angelo Collins is with us. So great. I finally met him in person.
I know.
I saw your announcement of when you took over from Mike Hirschberg.
Yeah.
And I've been watching, of course, what VFS has been doing, and you guys do amazing things. So great to meet you.
I know, it's great to be here. It's a local event, which isn't typical for me.
I
I mean, we're an international society, so we are all over the place, I have an event. We have the Asian Australian Rotorcraft Forum, which is in Melbourne, the University of Melbourne this year.
Yeah.
I'll be attending the European Rotorcraft Forum. That's in Marseille. Unfortunately, it's going to be miserable.
Oh,
Early
that's
September
awful.
in Marseille.
Oh yeah, France, horrible.
And that's a great one.
Yeah.
But,
so yeah, okay, very good. So maybe you've been here before. Have you been to this forum before?
I did not attend last year. Mike Hirschberg, who was my predecessor as
was
executive
here.
director, did attend. He's a German currently.
Yeah.
Vacation, not for work. But
Yeah.
I did not attend. This is my first exposure to this event.
Yeah, so
Really
what's your
exciting.
impression?
Yeah, really exciting.
What are you thinking?
It's an excellent networking event. You have a lot of the people, the subject matter experts and the FAA people from all over the country coming to talk about some of these important topics related to AAM. And,
yeah. So great point. This is the Drone and AAM Symposium, and unlike any other event that recently that I've been to, really kind of living up to the hype when it comes to AAM. I mean, right? Supernal's here, Joby's here, Beta's here. I'm sure I'm missing people. Obviously you're here from the Vertical Flight Society. So as you've been so involved in this community, even though this is your first FAA symposium, as you think about advanced air mobility and the future, what are you hearing here that gives you great promise and hope?
Well, I do believe it is now not necessarily. It's known and understood that this is going to happen. The FAA is fairly committed. It's just a little bit people.
Yeah.
Earlier on, we had the Vertical Flight Society hosted our first transformative vertical flight event. Back in 2014, and I was the administrative chair. And this was talking about eVTOL. We called it at the time distributed electric propulsion. It was more government leaning, DoD, because the DoD was investing in it. We had calls to set that meeting up with. I was with Joe Ben, and we were in Mark Ward, and we were trying to set up this fun event. Like no one was a billionaire yet. Yeah. And that was the early years. And I'm joking with some of these companies now that they've graduated from the Vertical Flight Society.
Yeah.
And, because we do some advocacy, but we are an educational professional society. We care about the students, the schools, we care about the research funding. But some of them are graduating to, we need to have advocacy and we need to get this, these aircraft certified and flying. We need to work with the FAA closely. And entities like AUVSI are the perfect entity to support some of these eVTOL companies to succeed and be profitable.
Yeah.
So,
well, one thing I love about this community is there is space for everybody.
Yep.
And I love what you do. Very unique. I love what AUVSI does. Now, you have your own events, and you mentioned the transformative vertical flight event that you do every year. You've got an upcoming infrastructure workshop. Is that right? Yeah,
it's going to be down the street here in Washington, D.C. at the Navy Memorial Building. That's in September, early September. And we're looking forward to that. We call it the AAM. It's the 9th. We're at the 9th AAM Infrastructure Workshop.
Wow,
and it's the nerds come together. The topics are a little bit more technical, but it's also very informative. And we have some folks from all the different eVTOL companies. The FAA Tech Center generally it comes in force and supports, and it'll be a good time. Yeah.
Well, I have to say, nerds rule the world. So, if you're one of those and you're into AAM infrastructure, that is one of the places to be. And I warned everybody not to flail their hands, and I'm the one that does it, right? So give me 1 second, everybody. I'm going to, lock in this. Now you're moving it.
Oh, I see.
So it's following you.
All right.
Okay.
Maybe we'll go viral.
So here, come towards me.
There we go.
There we go. And I'm going to lock this sucker in. Okay, give me 1 second. There we go. All right.
Live, so
you know what? This is totally live.
Yeah.
This is how you know it's live, because we screw things up. I screw things up. It's an AI camera, and I'm Italian. And I actually told him, because he's Italian, don't flail your hands around. So anyway. All right, Angelo, how can people reach you, learn about Vertical Flight Society before you head out?
So VTOL.org is our web address. Otherwise, you can Google my name, Angelo Collins. Vertical Flight Society. We're always looking for new members, and we have a lot of great resources. We've been around since 1943.
Wow.
And we record a lot of our events. We're a venue to publish, so there's a lot of technical material, presentations that are available on our database. So yeah, come look us up.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you, man. All right, very good. Last but certainly not least, this gentleman reached out to me on LinkedIn, and it's such in its of itself its own community. This is David Lewin, and he is from Echodyne. You've got your own podcast, is that right?
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. So, David, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do at Echodyne.
Sure thing, yeah. So I help cover the critical infrastructure domain at Echodyne, and we're a manufacturer of a radar, electronically scanned array radar. And what we've seen in this industry is the importance of high confidence in tracks and in things that are showing up on the UTM.
Oh, yeah.
And, early days, maybe it was okay to be kind of far off from where a target was, but the more we're getting into real world applications.
Absolutely.
It's all about saving time for the operator, making things easier, more plug and play. So the accuracy actually matters more now than ever. And that's really our claim to fame, is accuracy within that radar space. So really excited to be here and just continue to develop that platform.
That's awesome.
I'll also just mention briefly that I'm on the Air Advocacy Committee with AUVSI, proud member, and also on the it's the AAM Institute with Dan Sloat. I'm one of the senior advisors on this team as well. So
very cool. I didn't even know that. How did I not know this? So Dan was involved in our Law Tech Connect workshop this past year on the AAM panel. We did stream that back in June. You can find all those, by the way, on the P3 Tech website. But David, so you've been listening to some of this content. So we've had a lot of reveals this week, which is really cool. Some updates on the regulations, like Part 108. It is a coming. Actually, I heard finalization of that AAM-focused regulation that talks about pilot certification and things like this. This fall is what I heard. So like a number of reveals, but anything that really jumps out at you that you think you want to share with our audience that couldn't be here perhaps?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd say two things. First is there's been a lot of progress since last year at this event. I hear so much more buzz and excitement from everybody this year, where last year maybe a little more sluggish and kind of, hey, we've heard this for many years, same thing over and over.
Yeah, where are we on that?
Right, and then, shout out to the FAA and all the stakeholders for making tremendous progress in this last year with the announcement of BB loss waivers for zipline and wing and side and all that. I know that's come up many times, but that is massive because last year we were talking about it was in infancy, it was an idea, and this year it's a reality as of the last couple of days, so good timing on that. And I feel the same about many other things, even projects that we're involved in as a company were in infancy stages maybe last year, and now it's a GA airport, for example, in Virginia that has radars up for advanced air mobility this year that are now being integrated into their UTM. And so I think over the next year, it's going to become more about that full integration, making things easier and more automated, and showing that these systems can, as I said earlier, save operators time and make their job more efficient. And so, we haven't had as much accountability on that piece up to this point. So I kind of feel like over the next year, that's where I know we're going to be focusing, and I think a lot of other folks that I'm talking to as well.
Yeah. Well, I got to give a shout out to Congress, anybody listening out there. The FAA reauthorization did kickstart a little bit of this. FAA is really taking these timelines seriously, and we just see forward movement, and that's what I think everybody's been waiting for and hoping for. And I agree. We are, I talked to somebody the other day, David, I'd love to hear your thoughts. We always hear crawl, walk, run. After this event, where are we on that scale? Where would you say the industry is right now?
Well, we're right in that mix. I'd say, I will say this.
I think we're beyond crawling. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, yes.
I think we're walking.
We're into the toddler stage.
I think we're up on the table, like standing, taking those first steps.
Exactly.
Right? Like
Mom
totally.
And Dad are cheering. I was literally thinking of my kids when you were asking me that.
That's
trying
so
to pick
funny.
which one I would relate this to. But I would say one thing that I took away that relates to this is, there's obviously it's challenging the somewhat slow roll of this industry. However, one of the benefits that I've picked up from hearing some of the folks speaking of this was that community engagement takes time. And for actual folks in my neighborhood to be comfortable seeing drones flying over their head left and right delivering things is actually going to continue to take more time. And so, the slow roll of the legislation of what's going on in the national airspace, that's one piece, and they're working really hard at that. Meanwhile, I do think we're commissioned over the next year as an industry to get out into our communities and actually help them further embrace and be excited about what drone delivery could mean for them. Organ deliveries, quick delivery of Narcan to an island,
AEDs,
like whatever,
right? Wildland firefighting, search and rescue.
That's huge.
I don't know if you were in there, David, but I forget what room I was in, what even talk it was, but somebody said, I was out and about, and this woman came up to me because I was flying my drone, and she's just like, I wasn't a fan of drones, but it was getting dark, and my little son got lost, and the local sheriff pulled out his drone and found him in 10 minutes. And she's like, that changed my life and my perspective on drones. And it's those kind of stories, that I think really one drone, one pilot, one mission at a time will turn the tide here. So super excited. All right. So tell us about your podcast, which I hope I'm going to be on at some point.
Absolutely.
And where also people can find you and learn more about Ecodyne as well.
Sure thing. Yeah. So primarily on LinkedIn. I have a LinkedIn Live podcast that I run regularly and mostly just interview folks similar to this. And thank you so much, Don, for having me on here.
Yeah, of course.
But creating conversations around all things drones, whether it's counter drone and what to do about nefarious drones or enabling drones to be able to fly, for delivery. It's cool to be part of both sides of that coin. But look me up on LinkedIn, David Lewin. Otherwise, you can email me at my Ecodyne email at dlewin@ecodyne.com.
And that's LEWIN?
Correct.
Okay, very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so glad you reached out to me. This is what I love about this community. I have to say, coming here, it's like a family for me. My home away from home when I get to see old friends and then make new ones like today. So
absolutely. I think we have 267 mutual connections on LinkedIn. So I'm glad to finally meet in person.
So, all right, everybody, that is all she wrote. Stay tuned, by the way, for a couple articles inside Unmanned Systems Magazine. I'm here with them as well. And we'll be covering a lot of the content from these sessions. That magazine will be live at Commercial UAV. Oh, and by the way, fun fact, we had an amazing happy hour here, No Host Social the other night, but we're also, Caresoft and P3 Tech are collaborating on the 4th annual Flash Mob Networking Happy Hour at Commercial UAV. So book your tickets for Monday, Labor Day, September 2nd. Get there early, 5 to 7, Caesar's Palace. Check out my website, and we'll also be putting out on socials the registration link. So all free, all paid for by Caresoft, so it should be amazing. That's the next big event coming up, like in this world. So hope to see you there. Thanks so much for tuning in. We are out here.